What if Revan awakened and saved Anakin on Mustafar? Let's explore its depths in this video. Anakin's eyes widen as he takes in the shape before him. The guard doesn't seem the slightest bit afraid, and when the wind blows, he glimpses a lightsaber on his belt.
Step aside, soldier. I have business with the CIS Council.
I know what business you have with them, Chosen One. That is why I cannot let you pass.
That is not for you to decide.
Isn't it? Do you think you're the only one entitled to decide the fate of the galaxy?
I am here to bring peace and security to the galaxy.
Aye. For those your master deems worthy. For those who your master favors.
For those who deserve it. These men and women are monsters, tyrants, and those who exploit others for gain. The galaxy is better off without them.
And what are you? And your master? Who are those he allies with? Those who cloak themselves in a veil of righteousness.
Who are you, anyway?
Call me Revan.
The name sends a shiver down Anakin's spine. Revan. Darth Revan, the greatest Jedi who ever lived, and one of the Jedi's greatest disappointments. His grip tightens on his lightsaber as he looks at him.
And you condemn me? You who became one of the galaxy's greatest evils.
So you have heard of me. I won't deny what I did. Nor will I pretend I was a hero for doing it. That is why I am here to stop you from making the same mistake I made. Whatever Palpatine offered you, I can teach you as well. And more.
Revan pushes his cloak back and reaches for his lightsaber. The movements are casual, but there is power behind them. A power that Anakin rarely feels in anyone. He realizes that what Revan is claiming isn't just an empty boast. Suddenly, he seems a lot less certain of his chances as he looks at the ancient being. Slowly, he takes a deep breath and drops his hand.
What would you have me do?
Simply follow my instructions. But don't worry, I won't have you murdering children.
The council is surprised to see the two of them, but Revan confidently walks in, ignoring the weapons the guards point at him, and gives his demands. They are to lay down their weapons and surrender now. At first, the council is incredulous, but Revan simply says he is the person keeping them alive because they cannot expect any mercy from the Emperor. He reaches for his lightsaber and lays it on the table, saying that when the Imperial forces arrive, they may use it to protect themselves if they have the courage. As he steps back, none of the council dares to reach out for it. The ancient being simply reiterates his orders. With that done, Revan has Anakin follow him to his ship. When Padme arrives, there is no sign of them anywhere. It is as if Anakin Skywalker simply disappeared into thin air. To explain where Anakin ends up, Palpatine crafts a story of how he was one of the few Jedi who refused to go along with the coup and died defending a group of younglings who were massacred by their masters. But while Anakin is gone, the CIS Council is there and eagerly surrenders to Padme and is brought back to Coruscant. This prevents Palpatine from simply wiping out the CIS. As prisoners, they are spared a simple massacre and can negotiate terms, which boosts Padme's reputation, as she claims she was acting on her initiative to end the war. The price of peace is harsh, as they relinquish their organizations, battle droids, and most of their wealth, but the council members are allowed to live in the new empire. Most retreat from public eye, but look up and wonder who that mysterious Jedi was. In the meantime, Anakin and Revan retreat into the Outer Rim to plan their next move. Unfortunately, the Empire has still risen, so they now pivot to fighting it. Revan produces a holodisk that contains information about their factory locations, holdings, and their hidden wealth. While the Empire has already begun confiscating it, some of these are in the Outer Rim, allowing them to get this equipment first. Revan and Anakin begin their war against the Empire by taking these facilities and equipment. They begin reactivating old droid units and placing them under his control. They then give him a task he will enjoy greatly, launching attacks on nearby Imperial installations to keep the Empire occupied. With how worn out the droids are, They just assume they are holdouts from the Clone Wars and do not devote too many resources to deal with them. But as that happens, Revan and Anakin amass wealth and supplies. All of these are stored in hidden bases that Revan has left over during his time in the Old Republic. While most of these are near ruins, the pair begin to restore it as best they can. These also provide shelters for the next phase of his plan, recruiting allies. Although the Empire is now unquestionably the greatest power in the galaxy, its rise is not as smooth as they would like. A few Jedi like Obi-Wan managed to escape, and Revan secretly began recruiting them as well as any CIS holdouts willing to join, giving them access to some of the factories and hardware they had. It is slow going, as instead of a single organization, he is operating a loose coalition whose goal is to protect their interests. With these droid forces, they begin to wage low-intensity wars against the Empire and try to secure their planets. But Revan does manage to rally them under his leadership. The Jedi, meanwhile, act as Revan's elite strike force, moving wherever it needs them to. With the Order now destroyed, the ancient Jedi now christens them Jedi Crusaders in honor of his old army. Their goal now is to liberate the galaxy. Many don masks like Revan, hiding their identities. Meanwhile, Revan begins to create his base to build his strength, and for that, he chooses to claim Ryloth. The garrison there is strong, but so is the resistance, as many of the Twi'leks do not support the Imperial occupation. When Anakin and Revan offer their support, the resistance eagerly accepts them. The two recall the droid forces and join them on an assault across the planet. Aided by local guilds and soldiers, they manage to storm several towns and cities without the Imperial forces being able to react properly. Their timing is made even better, as the clone officer in command of the defenses, Captain Hauser, was recently arrested, leaving them leaderless. Soon after, several insurgents sneak into the capital and secure the bridge for them, allowing Anakin to lead a charge across and capture the garrison. Within a few months, this rebellion has captured its first planet. The weapons Revan captures arm the Twi'leks once again, and they begin forming a national army to defend themselves. Cam Syndulla is elected to become their leader, who in turn acknowledges Revan's authority. Revan has Anakin join him to hear what the people have to say. Unfortunately, tensions run high, as many voices all have different ideas for their next move. Some wish to focus on strengthening Ryloth, as they want to declare full independence from the Empire. Others wish to send their troops to neighboring systems and help Revan in his mission. A few wish to restore the Republic and rejoin it. Some even say declaring war against the Empire and executing the clone prisoners is a warning. Revan listens to all of this, watching Anakin's expression carefully. Once they call for a break, he has his apprentice follow him outside to get some air.
All of them have different ideas of what to do.
Welcome to politics, my apprentice. All of these people have their reasons for how they want to run things. Those who wish to declare independence no longer have faith in the Republic. They saw themselves ignored throughout the days of the Republic.
And what of those who wish to kill our troops?
If you'd been ignored by the Republic for so many years, and now suddenly have a strong garrison here, not to protect you, but oppress you, then surely you'd be angry too.
Yeah, I suppose so. It's like how the Jedi behave. They claim they are the Force for good, but when it comes time to act, they hesitate and fear breaking their code. So innocents suffer without their help.
Precisely. But that's only half the problem. The Sith like to believe they are creatures of action, willing to do what needs to be done. But ask yourself if they do those things to help others or themselves. In their world, only power matters. When it comes to running an empire, though, you can see how that can appear suffocating.
Revan gestures to the Twi'leks arguing, and realization begins to dawn on him. He nods his head.
This is what you wish to teach me? To take the middle road?
No, not that load of bantha dung. Close. The Jedi say that Sith deals in extremes, yet they seem just as guilty of it as well. I wish to teach you that things are not so simple, and that solving the problem requires taking a closer look at things.
That's why you allowed the other worlds to defend themselves, but chose Ryloth as your base.
Now you're thinking like a master. Yes, the other worlds craved independence, and setting my base there would have caused issues. Ryloth, though, is open to supporting our cause. It just needs some help building its military. That's where we come in.
Now, with a secure base, the pair move the remaining Jedi and droid forces here to Ryloth. While some garrisons and resistance cells continue to operate on other planets, their main base will now be here, helping train and build up the desolate planet into a proper capital. Revan and Sham begin drafting plans for mines and ports to build and maintain their fleet, while the freedom fighters begin acquiring weapons from the black market. Anakin remains to train the new defense force with the Jedi. Using his experience as a general, he drills them in group tactics, organizing them into units, and begins creating a proper command structure. In this mission, he receives unexpected help. With Ryloth as their new base, it becomes a hotbed for malcontents and outcasts looking to fight the Empire. Several clones, including Captain Rex, join in, offering their help under the condition that Revan and the Ryloth rebels help free the clones. Rex explains how the clones carried out their orders due to inhibitor chips in their brains with pre-programmed instructions. The realization sends shockwaves across their camp as they realize the full extent of Palpatine's hold, but it also presents an opportunity. The clone prisoners they captured were initially just meant to serve as hostages to bargain with, but this raises the potential for turning them against the Empire. Rex and the Twi'leks begin removing the chips in their clones' heads. Those who have their chips removed are invited to their growing army, with many taking them up on this offer. On the other hand, veteran clones like Rex also serve as drill instructors for the Twi'lek military. They teach them standard military tactics, but also sabotage and guerrilla warfare, which they have gotten used to over the years. Soon, Revan feels comfortable challenging Palpatine openly and tries to expand his control over the sector. Once the army is ready, they begin attacking nearby systems and planets. With Revan and Anakin's experience, they begin isolating these worlds one by one, taking their garrisons and adding their forces to their army. As they conquer new planets, they also begin to see the chaos and unrest left over by the Empire's reign. While the Republic might have been negligent, the Empire was outright malicious due to its species policies that favored humans. This led to widespread discrimination across different species, but also left them open to joining Revan's empire. Many non-human races like Rhodians, Wookiees, Weequays, Niktos, Biths, Mon Calans, Quarren, and others rally to his cause. By his side is Anakin, who acts as his subordinate general, and together, more than a dozen systems fall under their control. However, the Empire's response slowly grows stronger as they realize the scale of this threat. From isolated garrisons, entire fleets, and battle groups are sent to challenge Revan. While he faces them bravely and manages to win several major victories despite being outnumbered, the superior resources of the Empire begin to show. For every legion Revan mauls and ship he destroys, there is more waiting for them. In the meantime, his rebellion is largely dependent on a limited fleet, as they lack the industrial base to replace lost ships and equipment as quickly. Slowly, they even get pushed back in some places, leaving them on the defensive. Slowly, the Empire begins to whittle down its defenses. To remedy this, the two begin recruiting some of the former CIS leaders into their fold. As many of them are aliens themselves, they face the discrimination of the Empire firsthand and are eager to regain their influence. Although they do not command the same level of influence as they did before, they still have experience in their craft that proves invaluable. The Nemoidians secure trade deals and negotiate third parties for excellent trade rights. Monolists secure loans for the rebellion, and the Skakoans provide designs for droids and ships. These are in turn built by Quarren and Mon Calan shipwrights. While they are still badly outnumbered, it does give them more of a fighting chance. More importantly, it gives Anakin a chance to learn, as Revan trusts him to help him govern some of these planets. Anakin's presence also causes another problem. Since Palpatine claimed he had died, many are questioning what he's doing alive. And not only that, but also fighting alongside the rebels. The young Jedi sees this opportunity and capitalizes on the advantage. He broadcasts himself denouncing Palpatine, calling him a traitor, and saying how Palpatine misled him and it took him years to learn the error of his ways. The response is overwhelming, as even within his Senate, many are furious at this. They wonder what else the Empire has been hiding from them, and whether these rebels are more justified in their actions than they first thought. The leader of this opposition is equally surprising, Padme Amidala. Anakin freezes as he sees her face on the holonet. It has been years since he saw her, and his body trembles at the sight of her, still so strong as ever. Revan notices this and chuckles underneath his helmet.
Is that the girl you were telling me about? How long has it been since you last spoke to her?
She is, Master. And several years. Before I met you.
And you haven't spoken to her since, after everything you were ready to do?
How could I face her after everything I've done?
Anakin, you did all of this because you wanted to protect her. Because you loved her so much you couldn't let go. But if you care, then you should be there now. I'm sure that's all she wants.
All right. I'll go.
If nothing else, I want you to at least take this lesson to heart. The flower that blooms in adversity is the most rare and beautiful of all.
Master?
You don't meet a girl like that in every galactic era.
True to Anakin's words, he secretly sends a message out to Padme, asking for them to meet somewhere. He reveals himself and gives a brief explanation for everything that happened, but promises to reveal everything when they see each other. The meeting place is set out on a distant planet in the mid-rim, near an isolated town. Padme Amidala stands cloaked in simple traveling clothes. Her heart pounds in her chest as she looks around quickly, looking for any sign of him. She can still hardly believe what she saw, but she knows her mind isn't making it up. Footsteps crunch against the soft earth, and Padme turns sharply. Her breath catches as a tall figure steps into the clearing. Anakin Skywalker. His face, worn and scarred, is haunted, but his eyes are the same, and hold something she hasn't seen in years. Regret.
Anakin.
Padme.
You're alive. You sent it to me. You said you'd explain everything. So, explain, Anakin.
Palpatine. He told me you would die. That the Jedi were plotting to take over. He said the dark side was the only way to protect you. I was so afraid of losing you that I lost myself. I was about to do something terrible. But someone talked me out of it.
And now? What do you believe now?
I was wrong about everything. I let my fear control me, and I became a monster. I forgot what mattered, and I want to fix that. Know that I never stopped loving you.
Love isn't enough, Anakin. Not when it leads to so much pain. So much death.
I know. That's the other reason I came to you. I know I can't undo what I've done. I don't expect you to forgive me. But I want to make it right. I want to fight him. Fight the Empire.
You're asking me to trust you again. One chance. That's all I can give you, Anakin.
Together, the two begin to coordinate their efforts to attack the Empire. While Anakin continues to attack the Empire's holdings in the Outer Rim, he feeds information to Padme, lists of transgressions and crimes that the Empire's troops commit. All of this gives her faction ammunition against them in the Senate. While they aren't as large as the CIS, Anakin and Revan's forces press Palpatine from inside and out, putting immense pressure on him. In turn, Padme also secretly feeds Anakin information on vulnerabilities, allowing him and Revan to advance deeper into Imperial space. However, Palpatine is not blind to this and begins suspecting that something is happening, so he decides to orchestrate a confrontation between them. They reveal some information that Rodia's loyalty is failing, and Padme is sent there to help reaffirm their loyalty. But Anakin will also send a strike force and capture the planet. But as Anakin arrives, he doesn't find an understated garrison. Instead, as his ships appear from hyperspace, several Star Destroyers suddenly materialize and ambush his fleet. The skies over Rodia are ablaze with the streaks of laser fire and the thunder of starfighters weaving through dogfights. Anakin manages to land a group of ground troops who rush through the capital. While many march to capture the capital, Anakin searches for Padme. That proves harder than before, as the garrison is heavily reinforced, with AT-STs stomping through the jungles and squads of elite stormtroopers bottling their forces at every choke point. Anakin deflects shots with practiced precision, as his droids and freedom fighters try to bring up anti-tank equipment. He suddenly gets an encrypted message from Padme, saying she's found some weak spot in their line, and Anakin leads a group there. Anakin grimaces, his blade slicing through advancing stormtroopers, cutting through an alley where the walkers can't reach them. They find a spot that hasn't been fully barricaded and rush through before the stormtroopers finish establishing the defense and drive them back. Just beyond is the communication tower where he got the message, and then he feels it. A cold, oppressive weight sent a chill through his spine. The air itself seems to darken as a figure cloaked in black emerges from the command center.
Palpatine.
The Emperor steps forward, flanked by crimson-clad royal guards. His yellow eyes burn with malice as he surveys the battlefield with an air of utter confidence.
Foolish boy. Did you think I would not foresee this? That I would let you and your pathetic rebellion fester unchecked?
Anakin's grip on his lightsaber tightens as Palpatine raises his hands, unleashing a storm of Sith lightning that rips through the rebel ranks. Soldiers scream as the energy crackles through them, scattering Anakin's already fractured forces.
You were always meant to be my apprentice, Anakin. And now you will die as nothing more than a traitor.
Anakin charges, leaping through the air to close the distance and blocking the second attack. Palpatine readies his lightsaber and their blades clash in a blinding flash of blue and crimson. The Force sends them flying back. Anakin takes a deep breath and whirls ahead, rushing forward as he lets his anger come rushing out and strikes at him.
You have grown stronger, boy, but strength alone will not save you.
And you have no one to protect you. No one to deceive into your bidding.
He whirls and unleashes another burst of attacks, letting his anger pour out as he thinks of the deceptions that Palpatine pulled on him, and all the things he did in his name. The anger fuels his strength, and that allows him to push him back, keeping Palpatine on his toes. But while he can push him back, he doesn't manage to score a serious injury, as Palpatine's mastery remains evident, keeping Anakin at arm's length. Once Anakin begins to tire, Palpatine presses forward and lets the dark side flow through him. He thrusts his hand out as dark energy surges around him, throwing him back. Although Anakin manages to defend against it, the movements drive him back and allow the Emperor to rush forward and kick him, sending him crashing to the ground.
I admit I am disappointed. All these years of training and you still cannot best me. Look around you. Your forces are falling.
He gestures around, showing the skies where his ships are slowly being overwhelmed, then towards the street where his forces are being driven back and cut down by the Imperial forces. But as Anakin looks around, he takes a deep breath and readies his lightsaber, ready to fight until the end.
Maybe. But that doesn't mean I'm about to let you win.
Nice to see that fire in you, Skywalker.
Suddenly, a new sound fills the air, a deep hum that sends a shiver of hope through Anakin. From above, reinforcements descend in modified freighters and sleek fighters. The ships bear markings Anakin instantly recognizes.
Anakin, I thought you could use some help.
Revan steps onto the battlefield, his violet lightsaber igniting as he strides forward, flanked by elite soldiers from his rebel force, along with several commando droids. He surveys Palpatine with a calm that borders on eerie confidence.
And who is this? Another pretender to the dark side?
Not a pretender. The first master.
He raises his lightsaber, the gesture sending a surge of power that leaves Palpatine's eyes wide as he realizes what's happening. Suddenly, he begins to feel the strength of who this person is. Palpatine instinctively takes a step back. Revan chuckles and joins Anakin, the two warriors now standing side by side. They attack in unison, their blades moving in perfect harmony. Revan's calculated, methodical strikes complement Anakin's raw power. Palpatine is forced on the defensive to meet these attacks. As they come at him again, the Force itself ripples around them. When Palpatine unleashes a barrage of lightning, Revan casually absorbs the attack with his hand and redirects it towards him, forcing Palpatine to leap back. Anakin takes the opportunity to leap forward, aiming a strike at his midsection, forcing Palpatine to leap back. Around him, the battle shifts as Revan's reinforcements turn the tide. Now it is he who is feeling the desperation as the two surround him, cornering him against the tower. Palpatine, now cornered, lashes out with a desperate surge of power. Anakin comes first, blocking the first set of strikes. But Palpatine follows with a palm thrust that sends him flying back. Revan is harder to move as his lightsaber meets and locks against his, holding him back.
You cannot defeat me. I am the dark side incarnate.
Could have fooled me.
He suddenly twists and drops to his knee, his lightsaber slashing across Palpatine's midsection as Anakin rushes back and slashes Palpatine's side. The Sith Lord gasps and stumbles to the side, his mouth gasping for air as he tries to comprehend what just happened and how he was struck. He struggles to breathe. He summons the last of his strength and throws a burst of dark side energy directly at Revan. The ancient Jedi gasps as the dark energy washes over him. He grunts in pain, and when it dissipates, his armor is smoking, but he remains standing. He then swings his lightsaber across Palpatine's neck and finishes him off. With their victory on Rhodia, the Empire is left in chaos. Padme manages to take control and begins pushing for peace talks with Revan. With the Outer Rim falling to them, the Empire isn't able to refuse, and they agree to these terms. Revan is commanded to reorganize the Outer Rim and restore order, while Palpatine is the Chancellor. However, Anakin decides it is time to retire from the Jedi, and instead focuses on raising his children. That's our theory. The Star Wars universe is a galaxy filled with exciting stories and possibilities, and we love exploring them. If you want to accompany us on this journey to a galaxy far, far away, then please like, share, and subscribe to our channel.